Gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another edition of VGR Lockdown. So, unless you've been living under a rock or something for the last 24 hours, last night, WrestleMania 34. It's a pretty decent show. It's the first time in a very, very long time that I have to say that coming out of WrestleMania, I actually have more questions than I even have answers for. I'm gonna jump right into the big elephant in the room right now. Going on 4 years in the making. I think it's been about 4 WrestleMania since Brock and Roman fought at WrestleMania. Everyone thought that this was going to be the end of a saga. Both men defeated Undertaker. This is the second time that they fought one-on-one, and this was going to be Roman Reigns' time to go over. Well, at the end of the night, Brock Lesnar is still your WWE Universal Champion. I think it was a huge shocker for myself, and I want to say it's probably a shocker for everyone around the world. Roman Reigns has always gotten some slack just because, he was supposed to be the guy. And pretty much, they've always been building towards him being the guy. Not only that, it's been speculated that Brock Lesnar, his contract ends tonight. So they pretty much assumed, especially with everything that has been going on, him hanging out with Dana White and everything, that he was going to be trying to make his big return to the UFC. So, it was one of those things where it was inevitable that Roman Reigns was going to walk out with the belt. But yeah, so it's kind of befuddled me. I don't know if Brock Lesnar has re-signed or what's going on, or maybe it was a thing where Vince and Triple H decided, hey, you know what? Maybe if we let him win at WrestleMania, he'll be more willing to re-sign with us. I don't know, but after WrestleMania, what no one actually saw, but there's rumors flying around right now, is that there was a heated argument between Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon once Brock got backstage after the pay-per-view. Allegedly, it ended with Brock either throwing the Universal title at Vince or at the wall or something. Not sure if this is a power move, power play or something. It's speculated that it's possibly, it had something to do potentially with Vince McMahon being upset with Brock going a little off script in the match. If you missed it, Brock Lesnar pretty much did the exact same thing that he had done to Randy Orton for a few months back, where he takes the gloves off and pretty much starts landing legit shots, bust Roman Reigns open, bust him open the hard way. In this PG era, they have a no blood policy. At least no intentional blood policy. So I'm thinking that may have been the foundation of that. It happened once before with Brock and Randy Orton, and Vince was forgiving. So he may not have been as forgiving since it happened again with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Granted, it was midnight when it happened. It happened nonetheless. So I'm not sure what's going on. What's going to happen next? Tonight is supposed to be the last night of Brock's contract. There's tons of random things that can actually happen tonight. We can have a rematch, which, with how last night went, no rematch is necessary. I mean, Brock won fair, square, clean cut in the middle of the ring. No ref bumps or anything like that. So Roman Reigns, in theory, does not deserve a rematch. So if Brock has not re-signed, how are they going to get the belt off him? Are they going to do the same thing where they did with Enzo and pretty much, hey, Brock felt like he had no other competition since he's pretty much beat almost every single solitary worthy contender for his championship on both Raw and SmackDown that people would actually want to see. The only outliners would probably be Finn Balor, which Vince feels like he's on a little on the small side, which probably would go double for Daniel Bryan. And with Daniel Bryan's injuries and how physical Brock's matches are, they probably want to keep Daniel Bryan away from him. And the other one would probably be what may be a dream match, but it would pretty much be a rematch from Japan between Nakamura and Brock Lesnar. But other than that, there really aren't any other worthy contenders. He's beaten Roman. He's beaten Braun Strowman. He's gone through Samoa Joe. He's had multi-man matches, triple threats, fatal four-ways, elimination chamber, or no elimination chambers. But he's had a series of multi-man matches as well, and no one's been able to stop him. So I'm not really sure what they would do. And now, speculation could be maybe tonight, Bobby Lashley, who's a free agent. He is rumored that he may be returning back to the company. That Bobby Lashley returns to the company tonight, and they give the belt to Bobby Lashley. I don't know. It's kind of doubtful, but they're out of options, really. So we'll see where that goes. Other ones, and tonight, last night, there were a lot of shockers. The other two shockers for me were both Nakamura and Asuka lost. I thought this year was going to be, it's been a big year for New Japan, but I actually thought that WrestleMania 34 was going to be their moment. At least for one of them. Maybe not both, but at least one of them. Nakamura, I'm fine with him losing, especially with how the end result went out, which pretty much Nakamura has gone heel. The babyface thing hasn't been working for him, partly due to his inability to speak English clearly, but he was getting a great fan reaction. But I'm actually really interested in seeing a heel Nakamura. So I can't wait till SmackDown to find out what happens next. Maybe they'll give Nakamura the belt at Backlash. Who knows? What actually really shocked me last night, though, was that Asuka lost. Thankfully, it was to Charlotte. But it shocked me. I thought they were going to let her beat Charlotte and roll through as being this unstoppable, undefeatable champion, similar to her run in NXT. But saving grace is the initial rumored plan that they had for Asuka was pretty much she wins the belt, runs around undefeated, and then when they're ready to give Ronda Rousey the belt, have Ronda Rousey be the one to defeat her. Nothing against Ronda Rousey. But that's really not what I wanted to see. Charlotte definitely was probably the best choice to be the person that ends Asuka's undefeated streak. They had never fought before. So yeah, Charlotte was probably the best choice because their only other option would have been a cheap shot and have Carmella cash in her Money in the Bank and defeat Asuka, which would have been bull. So, yeah, I'm curious on what's actually going to be next for Asuka. I mean, now that she's lost, typically WWE has a terrible, terrible history of having somebody that was undefeated, they lose, and now all of a sudden, everyone can beat them. I'm hoping that's not the route that they do with Asuka. Maybe kind of similar to what they're going to do with Nakamura. Maybe turn her heel. Definitely love to see that. I mean, right now, she definitely still has a claim to the Raw Women's Championship. Because she's already beaten Alexa Bliss cleanly. She's beaten Nia Jax as well. But I guess for this to work, since Nia Jax is currently playing that face role, Asuka would definitely have to go heel in that matter. But I definitely want to see her get her first main roster championship. No matter what brand that she's on, I think it will lead to some high quality matchups. Last night, Ronda Rousey had her debut match. Granted, this was more Kurt Angle versus Triple H with Ronda Rousey and Stephanie McMahon playing in the background. It was actually a much better match than I thought it was going to be. It was everything actually was fairly perfect, especially in her debut match. It lasted roughly about 20 minutes. But the way they laid it out was in a fashion of it's Ronda Rousey's first match. She had never had a professional wrestling match before in her life. And Stephanie McMahon, for the first half of the match, pretty much played her. In the sense of not, that she got the best of her or anything. But Stephanie McMahon, they used the rules to their advantage. They did, she did things that would draw Ronda Rousey out of place, so that she wouldn't be around for tags or anything like that. Just, playing up storylines. Hey, this is Stephanie and Triple H's world. They make the rules. It worked out perfectly. But in the end, Stephanie got what was coming to her for the first time in a very long time, and Ronda Rousey got her first victory. There was actually a very entertaining moment there as well where Ronda Rousey pretty much squared up with Triple H and took it to Triple H as well. But I have to applaud. That was a really good match that they put together for Ronda Rousey's debut. I'm hoping that she continues to develop. More than likely, they'll definitely need to continue to protect her. Probably starting off having her be in some more tag team matches versus one-on-one. Just so she can mature in the ring. But I think she'll have from what I saw last night, I think she'll have a pretty good run. Other than that, so last night, you had a couple other matches. You had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which was won by Matt Hardy with assistance from, I guess, Woken Bray Wyatt. He wasn't in the match, but he pretty much came out at the end. First time that he's been seen since the Ultimate Deletion match to help Matt Hardy win. Looks like they may be teasing some kind of alliance, a tag team or something with those two moving forward. Not sure where that's going to leave Jeff Hardy, unless it's going to be a three-man stable with Woken Matt Hardy, Brother Nero, and I guess Woken Bray or Brother Bray or whatever he's going to be called. As far as the women's Memorial Battle Royal went, Naomi came out on top. Had a great build during the match. They had divas they had female superstars from both Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in the match. The NXT women definitely had a pretty good showing during the match. And in the end, you thought it was going to come down to Sasha and Bayley, but they did the swerve. Bayley did, in fact, eliminate Sasha Banks from the Battle Royal, only to not realize that Naomi had never been eliminated from the match, with her coming out on top. In the IC title match, you had Seth Rollins come out on top, defeating The Miz and Finn Balor. First time that he's won the Intercontinental Championship, and is now, I believe this makes him a Grand Slam champion. Actually, I think he's pretty much held every belt. NXT Championship. I can't remember if he was ever NXT Tag Team Champion or if they had that belt when he was there. But he's been WWE Champion, Universal Champion, the United States Champion, Tag Team Champion, and the IC Champion. So that puts him definitely in a elite league. Though I definitely have to say the superstar of that match was The Miz. The Miz has been having a stellar time right now. Definitely the best work in his career. Now that they have the belt on Seth Rollins, I'm actually really hoping that they elevate the Miz up from the IC title. I'd like to see him get another run at the Universal Championship, or if they can't resolve this whole Brock Lesnar is unstoppable and nobody can beat him type thing, that they move him over to SmackDown. But I definitely think he needs to step into that main event role and be allowed to run with it. He's drastically improved, and I think he has proved himself to be worthy of being stuck in that role. I mean, they put Jinder Mahal in the role, for the effort that he had been putting forth and the improvements that he has made over his career. So the Miz is definitely deserving. Speaking of Jinder Mahal, last night, Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship. Jinder Mahal came out on top, so he is our new U.S. champion, defeating Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, and Rusev. With Rusev in mind, man, that guy, he's over. Rusev Day has definitely got him over, and it seems his momentum is a little unstoppable. And that's in spite of how they are frequently booking him to lose. Rusev now, and especially with Nakamura going heel, I feel like there's going to be that void in the face role in the main event, and they definitely need to bump Rusev up and book him a lot better than they have. Staying on SmackDown, Bludgeon Brothers captured the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a dominating fashion, defeating the Usos and the New Day. The match wasn't all that great. I think for their characters, it was exactly what it needed to be, where they pretty much dominated the match. The Usos and the New Day still did get to do some spots. They had their moments. It wasn't a complete squash match, but the match was only 5 minutes and 50 seconds according to Wikipedia. So, it is what it is. I think definitely it is time to have a fresh face on the tag team titles on SmackDown, because pretty much for the last 2 years on SmackDown, it's pretty much been the Usos and the New Day. Granted, we've had some hell of a matches over those 2 years, but, as the late great Owen Hart would say, enough is enough and it's time for a change. Over on the Raw side, Braun Strowman captures the Raw Tag Team Championships, his first title victory in his entire tenure in the WWE, and that includes NXT. His tag team partner, he won the tag team belts, ladies and gentlemen, with a child. Pretty much, time for the match, he goes and he pretty much picks a kid out of the audience, Nicholas. Now, allegedly, he is a WWE official's child, but nonetheless, Braun Strowman is now the Raw Tag Team Championships with Nicholas. And you know what? That brings up a whole bunch of questions. What's going to happen next? Is Nicholas actually going to be on the road with him until Braun loses the belt? Tonight on Raw, they're definitely going to have to figure out what's actually going to happen. Is Braun going to be defending the belts by himself? Is he going to be stripped? It's going to be a crazy night tonight. And you know what? As expected, Nia Jax defeated Alexa Bliss. Good match. I think they did a fantastic job putting that match together and setting Alexa Bliss up in a position where, size-wise, it was almost believable that Alexa Bliss could beat Nia Jax during that match. There was some really good ring psychology that happened during that match. And I definitely applaud Nia and Alexa on that match they put together. It wasn't a 5-star classic match or anything, but I definitely say it was a really good match, especially with how it was set up in the sense of Nia Jax, who is the bigger of the two, is the face in the match, and Alexa Bliss, the smaller person, is the bully. She's the heel. And I think it was put together perfectly. John Cena. John Cena finally did get a moment. It was kind of at the expense of Elias, which, it's Elias. I wish they would have been able to get The Rock and go with the different plan that they had for him, which he would have been in that role of being beat up by the legends. But initially, the plan for Elias was to have him, I think, be interrupted by Jeff Jarrett, and then there would have been some interaction with The Rock. Definitely would have been a little bit more entertaining than what they got. But, he got beat up by John Cena. But then when John Cena was going to leave, lights go out, ladies and gentlemen. We get an Undertaker sighting. Granted, the match was only about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Undertaker squashes John Cena. But I have to say, physically, Undertaker looked really good. I'm glad he was finally able to get the hip surgery last year that he needed. But it has definitely done wonders for him. He wasn't lumbering around. He's definitely had a lot more flexibility and agility than what he has had the previous years. But it was great to see him last night. I'm hoping we get another Undertaker sighting. It also leaves the question of what's next for John Cena. Like he said on the build, he's lost in his 5 pay-per-view matches. This makes number 6. Is he going to retire, go, and stay in Hollywood, or what's next? Is he coming back to go for that 16-time champion? Well, I guess we'll find out either tonight or on SmackDown. Finally, the Yes Movement returned last night, and Daniel Bryan made his glorious return to the ring. And that was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon defeating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Great moment for Daniel Bryan. I'm glad to see him back in the ring. I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed, that he is definitely 100% healthy and can remain that way. Because, Daniel Bryan's a great in-ring competitor. He's only 36 years old. He has a bright future ahead of him still. And, I know saying that someone has a bright future, it's kind of odd when he's been around as long as he has. But for him, he has a lot of questions. Is he going to remain the general manager of Raw? Is this going to be a full-time wrestling return? Or is it going to be kind of like Kurt Angle where he wrestles here and there? I'm definitely hoping that this is going to be a full-time thing. They get someone else in there as the GM of SmackDown. But it's definitely a huge shot in the arm for SmackDown because he has a ton of fresh one-on-one matchups. You can do Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan versus Nakamura. You got a ton of matches that have never been seen in the WWE that can definitely happen now since he's back and he looked great last night. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another edition of VGR Lockdown. I'm going to probably do another one of these things later in the week. I do want to come back and I'm going to cover the NXT TakeOver New Orleans that happened. If you haven't seen that already, definitely check that out. if you are into high quality matches, that is all TakeOver delivered on Saturday. So if you missed it, check that out on the WWE Network. But hey, check out Raw tonight. It's the night after WrestleMania. You know things are going to be crazy. There's a lot of unanswered questions. But make sure, like and share this video on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And I'll catch you guys next time.